there's nobody in this room that's not aware of the tragedy that happened in Newtown, Connecticut, before our Christmas break, where unfortunately a bunch of children and some teachers were killed in a school, and that brought to the forefront a lot of talk about what we're doing in McNairy County to address the safety of our children and our teachers in school. And I honestly feel like we have a responsibility to deliver the children home at the end of the day at the same condition that the parents drop them off in the morning. And I'm going to do whatever I can do to see that my part of that, that at least I do my very best to ensure that happens. Know that if I want to make this happen, if we want to make this happen, then we got to start today. We've got 6 months before our next budget comes in, and there are a lot of things that would have to go into place. We'd have to have a letter of agreement with the school board, who have already by resolution voted to support the idea of doing this, and to look at funding options, guys. The little budget that I provided to you, I'm not naive enough to think that we're going to spend $330,000 on our school resource officer in 1 year. I'm not. But that would be putting an officer in every school in this county. Do I want that? Yes, I want that. Do the parents in this county want that? Yes, the parents in this county want that. And if you can see a way to fund that by going to Adamsville, by going to Selmer, by going to the school board and going to us, then by all means that is where we need to be. And to be honest with you, if we do something less than that, we're going to be short selling the program. But I'm a realist, and I know that we have to start somewhere. And the proposal that we made in 2010 was to start with 2 officers, and I'll stand by that today, saying that if we can at least start with 2 officers, they can't be everywhere all the time, but they can do a whole lot of educating, they can do a whole lot of security surveying, and they can do a whole lot of mentoring. The price tag on that would be about $83,000. And I believe that there is a way in 6 months of planning through the budget committee, the personnel committee, the law enforcement committee, and the school board, that there's a way to come up with $80,000. Whether it's we go to a 25, or everybody pays them 25%. What I mean by that is the city of Adamsville has 2 schools in it, the city of Selmer has 2 schools in it, the county has the rest, but then you have the school board. So I can envision a way that all entities came up with 25%. I don't know that that's realistic. I don't know if it'll end up being a 50-50 sharing between the school board and the county. I don't know, but that's what we have 6 months, I hope, to try to figure out. Every county that touches the county that touches us has a school resource officer program. Why do we not have one? I don't know. We've never thought that we needed one. But I can tell you guys that there's not an umbrella sitting over McNairy County that keeps bad things from happening. Because the people in Newtown, Connecticut dropped off their kids for school that morning, and every one of those thought that that wasn't going to happen that day. And if there was any amount of money that anybody could have spent in Newtown, Connecticut to bring those children back, I can assure you that they would spend it today to get one of them back. Not all of them, but one of them back. They'd spend any amount of money to get one child back. And I can't stand here and tell you that by putting school resource officers in the schools that we can prevent a tragedy from happening. I can't. I can't tell you that if we had an officer in every school that we can prevent a tragedy from happening. But I can guarantee you this, that if we have officers in the schools, it will definitely reduce the impact of that tragedy. Meaning that if something happens, I would much rather have an officer responding from a hallway away than I would from 10 miles away. There's a lot of things that we are doing with the school board. Brad Johnson has got the lead on it, where we are doing security surveys at all the schools. We have found tremendous security deficiencies in the schools. There's going to be a physical note that goes with that. Our teachers cannot lock the doors from inside their rooms at some of the schools. And what we mean by that is it's a standard that if they go into a lockdown mode, the teachers do not need to be exposing themselves, going out into the halls, lock their doors, to then go back in and shelter with their children. They need to be able to do that from the inside. We have to take some action, because taking no action at all and then something happening, I can't live with it, and I don't believe that anybody on this body would want to be part of a body that said no, we don't want to do this program, and then next year or the next year we have a tragedy that happens. We don't think tragedies can happen in McNairy County, but we didn't think that a race car would drive through a crowd of people in a parade either. It can happen. It can happen here. It doesn't happen in New York, y'all. It doesn't happen in Chicago. It doesn't happen in these places where they're prepared for these things. It happens where we're not prepared for it. It happens where there's not an officer. The people that do these crimes, they think about what they're going to do. They're not going to go somewhere where that community is prepared, and especially where the school's prepared. So what I January, and we've got until July, that we as a body, myself and any committee who's willing to listen to me, or any committee that the mayor and you guys think should be involved in it, come up with a way, get with the county attorney, come up with a letter of agreement or memorandum of understanding, whatever it would be between us and the school board, that would define what roles the officers play, who actually, and without a better term, who owns those officers. Their authority obviously has to come from the sheriff's office, but there's a lot of argument about, and I know there'll be a lot of discussion, but I'm not trying to increase my staff, y'all, I'm really not. So if it means that those officers belong to school, I'm willing to do that. I don't have a problem with that. That way it doesn't go in, to the deal where if you give me a person, you can't take away a person. Whatever it takes, I'm willing to do my part of it. I just ask for you guys to do your part. So whatever action we can take tonight to at least move it into committees over the next few months, that's what I'm asking for. Do we agree then that we can go ahead with Mr. Kennedy's office to draft or get with the school board attorney, get with our attorney, and come up with what would be the memorandum of agreement between the two bodies?
Well, I think the bodies have got to agree to that. The two attorneys can't speak for the board.
Well, it's going to come down. I think
can't speak for the county commission. It's got to be a mutual agreement here, as I see it.
I think the points of interest that need to be agreed upon is who owns the officers, what are their duties, what hours they work, and these type of things. That's the nuts and bolts of the whole thing.
Okay.
Sheriff, I don't think there's a person in this room that don't want our children protected. I've got 2 kids in school myself over there. I do believe that we're putting this a little quick before we're moving too fast on this. And I've been in law enforcement twice as long as you have. I know, I've been there. I've worked security assignments. We've got calmer minds and we have to prevail. All this stuff appears to be a knee-jerk reaction. We do need it. But to start on a memorandum of understanding right now, that's premature. And wait a minute, I'm not there. I think we need to get Dr. Miss Kelly, who is over our school system, to contact the state, see what they recommend. They have a lot more resources than we do. They may have possibilities for funding. I just think that we need to think about what we're doing now. I'm for it. I'm for school kids protection. But I think there's resources and sources out there we need to explore before we start developing who's over who. This has not even been done yet.
It's been done everywhere but here.
Yeah.
It's been done everywhere but McNairy County.
Let me tell you something.
I'm just asking for a program that's modeled after programs that have been done since the 1950s all across the United States.
Let me tell you though, Sheriff, I know you want a program right now. I would love to have it. We need to think about what we're going to do. To up here and start doing memorandums of understanding with the school board or anybody else. There's also cost involved in this. You kind of put us in a predicament. We all want it just like you want it. But I do believe that you're preying on what's happened in this country the last 3 weeks, month. Now, you're my buddy and you're my friend.
And we can agree to disagree, and that's okay.
But
this is not a knee-jerk reaction. I came to this commission 2 years ago, over 2 years ago, and we discussed this. So how can you say this is a knee-jerk reaction?
I think that you're reacting just like they're reacting in Washington to all this. It's not that we don't need something. But I think this body is you're pushing us too much.
I didn't ask for anything tonight. All I asked was to move it into committee.
You just asked to have a memorandum of understanding, and you asked our attorney to try to get one. So I think we need to ease along with this, and everybody think about this, what we need to do. And there's experts that can help us figure this out. I think that the superintendent of education, it's his school. It's your responsibility to assist him and advise him. But I just think we need to look at it. And that's all I say.
This is my suggestion. I think we always need to start with trying to get some people together so we can get a dialogue. And I do agree with Mr. Ash and Carol Ann. It is important that we do have our education committee involved in this. And I'd say go ahead and start let's start. Let's just go ahead and set up a meeting between our education, committee. And I feel like we probably need some of the board members, chairman of the board, Miss Kelly. And
Need the director of schools for sure.
yeah, to be there, and so, and then, and Sheriff Buck, and it would be great if we could get all the entities that are gonna be involved, the city of Adamsville, city of Selma, Sheriff's Department, that it's gonna ultimately affect them. So at least that's a start where we can have some discussion and try to, and then go from there to try to find the options that we do have.
Well, I think if, I'm 100% beside Ms. Ford doing whatever we have to do. But I need to know where we're going. Just go out here and say, okay, we're gonna hire 8 people, and they're gonna go to work without having the Board of Education in agreement with that. Board of Education may not want one in every building, I don't know.
I would
We
agree.
need to know what they want.
And I want to be on record for this too. I'm not opposed to protecting our kids. And I think they do need protection. The way we approach this problem is what my concern is. And how we deal with this issue. I know you want to do it right now, and I understand.
Steve, what I'm asking for is a
I'm
plan to do it.
Sheriff.
It's a plan to do it.
I said, I understand what you're doing, and I appreciate what you're doing. It's your responsibility to bring this to us. But I think we need to think about what we're doing. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, the will of this board would like, I feel like it's the same, I feel like it's what Mr. Brown said. I think really we probably need to get Ms. Kelly more involved, obviously, and get some input from Ms. Kelly first. That doesn't mean that we're not gonna go with the direction I'm talking about. Obviously, we need to get his ideas, what he's wanting to do, what the school board actually has in mind, if it requires, Sheriff Buck to be there, that's what we'll do. We'll get him there, and then we'll get our education committees, we'll go through the proper channels to get this thing started and get a good understanding of what direction that we do wanna go. And Sheriff, I do appreciate, again, your passion for what you, and I think everybody understands that. I mean, this is a tragic thing that's happened and this happens all across the country. And we don't want it to happen in McNeil County. I think there's not a person in this room who doesn't feel the same way. But I do agree that we need to make sure that we're going in the right direction and getting it in place that will be something that will work, that we'll all be comfortable with.
And I just want everybody to understand, I didn't come in here tonight asking for people. I came in here asking for a dialogue to figure out what we're gonna do and how we're gonna do it. And that's what I hope we're leaving here with. I don't leave, Steve, I'm not leaving here with Phelan or toward anybody, because the bottom line is, we just can't do nothing. You know what I mean? We've got to start moving forward.